Hey, everybody. We're back again live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
I'm Rick.
And I'm Halisi.
Welcome to our Black Utopia.
So this is the third week, and we just want to say thank you to everyone. What do we talk about here? So we are live, and here we talk about travel. We talk about money.
Of course, money.
Right. And retiring abroad.
Yes.
So if you are into any of those things, money, travel, retiring abroad, and where those things intersect.
Don't forget about generational wealth.
Oh, right. That's right. We're into generational wealth, building generational wealth. And so when we talk about retiring abroad or money, we're not just talking about creating enough money to see us through our lifetimes, right? We're talking about our grandkids, our great grandkids, and thereafter. So that's what we talk about. And if you're into that, what should they do?
Everybody needs it. Everybody needs to get together and think about what they want to do and how they want to do it. And it's really, really simple. It's not complicated at all.
That's right. And so that's what we talk about here. So if you're into that stuff, like and subscribe. Please. All right. So a little bit of housekeeping. Today, we're going to be talking about the lotto effect, right? Yes. What would you do if you came into a large lump sum of money, like if you won the lotto, right? What would you do? Do you have a plan? And how come more than 70% of lotto winners end up broke within like 7 years? No,
5 to 7 years.
90%.
Yes,
I think it's 90%. Something crazy, right?
Years.
Why is that? So do you have a plan? So today we're going to talk about how we would spend $1 million after taxes if we won the lotto. And we want to see what questions you have. So let me get over to the comments here and see what we've got going on. We're going to put something in the chat. Everyone, please say hello. I've got caps on. I can't talk and type, sweetheart. So why don't you start telling them what we figured out?
I got to see what you're doing.
Chat. Why you got to see what I'm doing? You see this? See, this is why he has problems flying, because he's got to have control over every single piece of the thing.
Yes, give me control over the plane and I will be okay. But I've gotten,
we're into travel.
I've gotten better at it.
We're into travel, so you tell me how this is going to work out. So anyway, we'll see. We will see. All right. So I guess we should start at the top, right? And why we're telling this story, because we probably don't know a lot of people who have won the lotto. I don't know anyone who's won the lotto. Do you? No. I know people who run little scratchers for a few thousand and stuff like that, but I don't know anyone who's won like the Powerball or anything like that. But I know a lot of people who have come into a lump sum of money. Maybe they've gotten into a car accident and it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
Right. And they come into, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 or so.
Yeah, grandma might have left some money behind.
Might have left some money. We all know people who've come into a lump sum of money. Did they have a plan? Did they utilize it to grow wealth? Or did they get distracted by bright, shiny things?
Well, we came into a fairly large sum of money a couple years ago, well, more than a couple years ago. On my way to work, driving to work, paying attention to what I was doing, and another guy decided that he wanted to text at that time and came across into my lane and hit me on the driver's side. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what was going on. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground asking everybody what happened. No one got hurt but me. I spent the whole day in the hospital because they didn't want to release me because for fear of, my wife was working and they didn't want me to be home by myself.
Well, plus they didn't know if you had internal bleeding. It was bad. So he's making light of it. Let me tell you, he got knocked out. All right. We were in a Pathfinder. Well, he was in a Pathfinder, a large Pathfinder, which was totaled. It was totaled. The keys, he was hit so hard that the keys came out of the ignition and ended up on the floor on the passenger side. And you didn't come to until the ambulance was there.
No, I got out. Okay. I know there was a lady that asked me, was I all right? I remember seeing that. And the next thing you know, I remember I couldn't get out of the the driver's side door. It was just destroyed.
Right.
And I made my way out to the passenger door, and I was on the ground. And next thing I know, I hear sirens and stuff, and they're loading me into an ambulance.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And I was at work and he calls me and says, "So, yes, I've been in this accident and I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm okay. But they're going to keep me for a while." So I was like, "Oh, okay. Do you need me to come there?" "Well, I'll be all right."
I just said I was all right. I ain't said, well, and all that stuff. But anyway, so, I got through all that, got through the hospital, and just, made a phone call, tried to call the guy's insurance company. And I wasn't worried about my insurance. I knew I was covered for a lot of things. So, and I didn't get through. And my wife knew an attorney, an accident and stuff like that, an attorney. So I called him, reached out to him, and we talked. And he let me know it's a good thing you didn't get through the insurance company because you probably went through all kind of craziness, and you probably end up with next to nothing.
Yep.
So we worked on it. And he worked on my case. Make a long story short,
How long did it take?
I want to say about 7 months to a year for everything to be done.
I know you had the accident in the fall. And June 24th, we were still, because that's my son's birthday, we were still talking to the attorney
Right.
about going back and forth, right? So almost a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost a year.
Almost a year.
But
Yeah. And, we, of course, he won the case and got everything that we needed. So therefore, we had, a fairly nice size of money.
yeah, we got about $25,000. We're just going to be transparent here. We're all friends. We're going to be transparent. We got about $25,000, and we're saying this because the overall amount that was won was 60 something thousand. And usually in these types of cases, one third goes to pay to the doctors, one third goes to us or the injured party, and then one third goes to pay the attorneys. So keep that in mind. But then the other thing is you still needed a new
I
car,
needed a car.
and we had 1 year where we didn't have the money. So we're going to talk about that
Yeah.
when we're talking about how he spent the money, because we had to come up off the money to put a down
Put a down
payment
payment on a different vehicle.
on another car, right?
Yes.
All right. And so did we buy a brand new car?
No. No brand new cars.
We don't
No.
buy brand new cars.
Uh-uh.
We do not buy brand new cars. So Shay is in the comments. She already knows what she's going to do, right? She's going to be paying debt off first.
Yes.
And and so yeah. So let's just get to it. What would we do? First, we're going to start off. So now you know the story. We wanted to tell that story because um again, most of us don't know anyone who's won the Powerball or the Lotto, but a lot of us know folks who have come into a lump sum of money, and then we see years later that they don't really have too much to show for it.
Right.
And whatever big screen TV they bought is probably now out of date.
It's out of date, and they need to get a new one, and they're trying to figure out
And
how to get a new
they
one.
probably can't even give it away, right?
Right.
Can't even give it away. All right. So we're going to set up some assumptions, and then we are going to talk about what we would do with the money. And then we're going to stop at each step of what we would do. And we want to hear from you guys what, any questions you would have, what you would do differently, et cetera. Right. All right. So the first assumption that we are going to make is that the person winning is over the age of 40.
Yes.
And that they are in a partnership, married or not. They're in a partnership. All right. The other assumption that we are going to make is that they do have some type of pre-tax retirement account, like a 401k or whatever the equivalent is where you work. We are going to assume that they own a home, but not outright, that they still owe the majority of the mortgage on that,
Yes.
right? They probably have at least 20 to 25 years to pay it off. We are going to assume they probably have a student loan or two. We are going to assume that their savings account has less than $5,000. We're going to assume they have 2 car loans.
2 cars. Yeah, because most families are going to have two cars.
And then the last assumption is kind of interesting and something that we do not encourage, and that is this person has a parent student loan. As opposed to co-signing a loan, a parent student loan is when the parent takes out the loan for the child, and you can't get out of that stuff. And I
No,
do not ever suggest. I know we Black parents want our kids to go to college, and I'm not suggesting that your kids don't go to college because I don't know you like that, right?
right,
But don't take out a loan. Do not take out a loan, especially today when we're not seeing the type of return on investment for college,
right.
right? All right. Okay, so let's get to it. What is the first thing that we would do with the money?
You got to pay off your high interest credit cards, your consumer debt. You got to pay that off. You got to
So
get rid of
do
it.
we need to give Shay? I know she calls herself Shay because we've been in communications, and I guess it's Shay Lorene, but she signed it Shay. So
Yeah,
I'm being very presumptuous here. But do we need to
yeah.
give her a prize?
Definitely give her. She gets the prize. We haven't figured out what we're going to give yet, but you get the prize. You have to pay off debt, and we're not saying that you have to pay your home off or anything like that because that's there's bad debt and worse debt. That's bad debt, but that can work in your favor. So, don't worry about, oh, I just got to get rid of this mortgage.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll talk
if you
about
got
that in a minute.
millions, then kind of, but you could think about that. But you definitely got to get rid of that consumer debt. Those credit card bills are killing you. Get rid of that so you're not keep paying the minimum until we get it down. People, it's not
It's
going
not going to go
down.
away. And
It's
so
not going to
we've
go
got
away.
some statistics for you. For Gen Xers, and this is why we picked this age range. For Gen Xers, the average amount of high interest consumer debt in America is $135,841, according to CNBC. And
Yes.
right, and for boomers, it's $96,984. That is not consume. Uh, um, a mortgage is not included in that. Was a
No.
car loan included in that?
Car loan,
Car
I believe,
loans
is
might have been included in that, but mortgage was not. Payday loans, consumer debt, and student loans were not included in that.
I believe student loans
Were
were
student loans included
included
in
in
that?
that. Yes.
Okay.
We can look it back.
We have
over.
to look back on that because I remember trying to extract that because we're going to talk about student loans in a minute. But consumer debt, $135,000, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, we remember being, if the payment fits, we
We
get.
get.
Well, we used to be that couple, but you cannot retire comfortably,
No.
retire early, um, create financial independence with that kind of consumer debt.
And we looked at it, and the reason a lotto effect, and it's a two-part thing that we're doing with the lotto effect. But it's like we said, 90% of the people that win the lottery are broke within 7 to 9 years, let's say.
7 to 9 years.
I mean, broke,
Broke. Like,
because they didn't take and do the things that they should have done to prolong and make sure that they can retire and retire forever if they
right.
wanted to.
So we're just going to preface this by saying we said the assumptions are that the age range is 40 plus. But whether you're 20, 30, or whatever, just like we have in the description, oh, hi, welcome. If you're watching this in the replay, put your questions, by the way, in the comments, and YouTube will notify us and we'll answer. So anyway, if you win $1 million after after taxes, you should be able to retire forever, right?
You should.
You should be able to retire forever. So we are just going to preface it by saying that you should be able to retire forever. So, all right. So there we go. If part of the debt is car, you should sell it and pay cash for another. Let's talk about car loans, buying cars, what we've done right and what we've done wrong.
Well, you go out, you buy a car. Most people, I used to know growing up, I had uncles and aunts that would buy a new car every year. Why I don't know, but I was a kid, and it was like, oh wow, you got a shiny new thing. And a lot of times we go out and we buy that kind of thing is to keep up with everybody else. Look what I got. And we ended up in behind the scenes, we end up kicking ourselves for it.
Yeah.
So you go out and you buy a new car, you're putting a down payment. Now you have to buy your insurance that goes on your car. You're worried about the car getting hit or scratched or bumped. So, you're parking it on the street unless you're fortunate enough to have a garage to park it in. So that brand new car that you just bought, how much time do you actually spend in it? Because you're spending at least 8 to 10 hours a day
At work.
working a job to pay for it.
And then another 8 to 10 sleeping. So you're paying three, 400, 500, $600 a month for something that sits in the driveway, sits in a parking lot 90% of the time.
Oh, but wait, we can finance that car for 72 months.
That's right. Let's spread it out.
They will finance the car for 10 years.
If you want them to,
If you want them to get that payment down,
because
but
if
the
the
less
payment
you pay,
fits,
we
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 get.
get
So we stopped buying new cars, folks, a long time
long
ago,
time
right?
ago.
So we're saying if we won $1 million and we were one of those couples who had bought a Tesla or something like that, and like we said last week, and we're not upside down in that car loan, then what we would do is we would sell that car. If there's some cash left over, we would take that cash a little bit more and buy a used, nice, safe car that we can pay cash for and be done with it.
Yes.
Our insurance would probably come down as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, for more of a
Because
used car, because now they don't have to get something that they value at a higher value
right,
or a luxury car.
a luxury car they charge you more for luxury cars, charge you more for sports cars. We've been through all that.
Yeah.
We've had it. We've had the Range Rovers and the Mercedes. We've had all of
And
that
and
stuff.
and another thing,
Jaguars.
if your credit's not where it really should be, you pay higher insurance costs.
Higher insurance. I mean, it's just crazy, right? So,
So
but
there's a
we're
lot that goes along with it. Yeah.
right. So, invest in future self, invest in your retirement, invest in never working again, never saying, can I have permission to spend time with my family to the man again?
No, you don't
All
have
right.
to.
Get rid of the expensive car, get a nice, safe car that you're not embarrassed to drive,
Right.
that's safe and does what it needs to do. What is the second thing that we would do with our $1 million if we won the lotto?
You gotta get that emergency fund funded. You got to fund your emergency fund. You have to have an emergency fund. I don't care if you won $10 million. You still have an emergency fund set aside because who knows?
Yeah. Like you get into a car accident and then you don't have enough money to buy a car while the insurance companies are fighting, right? So, how much should be in your emergency fund? How much is in our emergency fund?
You tell that. You handle the money, baby.
He just said that on air.
I
So,
said it on air.
so,
Hey, I know who the smart one is in this household, okay?
so you're smart,
I
baby.
know I am, but you're smarter.
So I don't hang out with folks who are that's just what I say. Okay. I don't hang out with folks who are not smart. So if you're a friend of mine, I believe you're brilliant. Okay. And I love you. All right. So we have 2 years worth of emergency funds in our emergency fund. So 2 years worth of living expenses, right?
Right.
2 years worth of living expenses in our emergency fund. Should you have 2 years worth of living expenses in your emergency fund? It depends.
It depends.
I don't know you like that, but psychologically, what do you need? The other thing that 2 years is could also be a ramp up to an entrepreneurial endeavor. Like
Right.
if you want to, take one of those hobbies and turn it into a business, that those 2 years of living expenses could ramp that up for you. So 2 years worth of living expenses out of our $1 million. And we're not breaking this down into dollar amounts because what is 2 years living expenses for you could be different for someone
Yeah,
else.
it definitely is.
If you want to know what we think about fixed costs and how you should regulate that, do one of two things. One, get our Ready to Retire toolkit, which we will drop in the comments, and or watch last week's video,
Yeah.
right?
And
All
we
right.
must say, we are not financial advisors. So if you feel the need to have a financial advisor, go to a professional, sit down and talk to them, work it out. They can tell you. We are just saying the things that we've done and sharing with each and every one of you what we've done to get to where we need to be.
Right. From 0 to 800,000 in 3 years. That's where
Yes.
that's what we were able to do. And so, yeah, we're financial educators, not financial advisors, so our attorney will be happy that we said that.
Yes.
However, we don't have a financial advisor because a financial advisor is not going to be with us to make every single decision. And if you want to grow financial wealth, if you want to grow wealth, if you want to be financially independent, you need to understand money and you need to understand your money. So we're going to talk about that because we actually have that in our spending for the $1 million. So shore up your emergency fund. We have 2 years. You decide what that is. What is the third thing that we would deal with that $1 million if we won the lotto?
Housing. Housing. You can downsize. You could possibly purchase a what is it called? Multifamily
Unit.
unit. Take one of the units for yourself and let your renters or your renters pay the mortgage for you.
Yep. Yep.
Downsize. You don't have to have the big mansion. I mean, it's up to you. But
Right. And so the question is, do you have a plan? Right.
right.
And so if you want that $1 million to grow and you never have to work again, you have to look at your expenses. The biggest expense for all of us usually is housing. How much are you paying and how much of that house do you use? So a study showed that
Mhm.
the average family of 4, when they did a heat map study, only uses 12 to 1500 square feet.
Yeah.
The average family of 4 uses 12 to 1500 square feet 80 to 90% of the time. Yet we're buying 2 and 3 and 4,000 square feet houses
And we're filling it up with
with
stuff.
stuff and it's just empty and
Yeah.
you're paying for that. All right. So what you could
Guilty.
do, yeah, we're guilty. What
Yeah.
This is not going to always be here, folks.
No, it's
We're
not.
shooting here so you can see it disappear as we pack up to get out of here. June 1st, we've got our tickets booked for Portugal, folks. We are out of here. But anyway, so housing, what you could do and what we would do if we won the $1 million is we would rent out our primary home. We would take some of the money and we would purchase a duplex or a triplex
Mhm.
and we would live in one of the units and we would rent out the other units and let those other units pay for the whole mortgage. And so then we would be mortgage free.
Right.
That mortgage, that the money that we no longer have to spend on a mortgage can now be invested.
Invested.
So that's what we would do.
Mhm.
All right. So I would love to know, as far as housing goes, is this your biggest issue? Are you using your house as an investment or is it just to house you? If it is just housing you, it is not necessarily an investment, right? Unless it can make money for you. So I'd love to hear in the comments if you rent or if you own. We're not suggesting that everyone should own a house necessarily. It just depends on what your plan is,
Right.
right? And I'm not saying that we would necessarily, if we didn't own a home, buy a home with $1 million. I know we're saying a lot of depends. And the reason is because you have to have a plan that fits your life.
Right.
We're moving abroad. We're going to retire abroad and we're trying to figure out where that's going to be. And so we're taking an exploratory trip. This is part of our journey and how we see our lives. We always wanted to bop around and kind of live and see the world. And so that's what we're going to do. And so we have to plan for that. And so it depends. What we don't want you to do is think that it has to look like what you always thought it had to look like.
Right.
Challenge assumptions and let your imagination take flight, right?
Yeah, let it
What do you
go.
want it to look like? What do you want it to look like? All right. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention about housing is how we buy real estate. We are real estate investors. We own 2 properties, which will be investment properties shortly.
Right.
And so y'all know about the Burr method, BRRRRRR. You guys can Google it. And it's very simple. Basically, we want to buy something under market value. That's what we want to try to do. And I know today that is really, really
Yeah.
hard. But if you are planning to buy it and keep it for more than like 5 to 10 years, then maybe you don't have to worry about trying to find that piece of property under market value. If you're not, if you're planning to use housing as like a live and flip type of thing, then you want to try to find it under market value, right?
Right.
Under market value, you want to rehabilitate it or rehab it, and then rent it out. All right, and then refinance it. That's the Burr method: rent, rehab, rent, refi.
Yeah.
All right. When you refi it, you use the money to buy another piece of property. If you guys want us to do a whole video on real estate investment, let us know in the comments. We can do that, and see what happens. All right.
Yeah.
So what would we do with the $1,000,000? First, we would pay off our high interest debt.
Right.
Then
Shore up our emergency funds.
shore up our emergency fund. Then
Housing downsizing, getting a multi-unit.
why wouldn't you pay off the mortgage?
Why is it necessary to pay off the mortgage?
Exactly. Why is it
It's not
necessary
necessary
to
to
pay off the mortgage? And so, okay, we're gonna give some love to two of our favorite YouTubers, Christine and Aman of Our Rich Journey, because they did a similar video, but we had already planned this video when we watched their video yesterday. Because the next thing that we talk about comes from their video. But one thing that Aman said from Our Rich Journey that we knew, but it was an aha moment when it comes to real estate investing and why we would not pay off our mortgage. Let's just take $10,000 that we would use to put down on a house,
Mm-hmm.
$100,000 house. Okay, that's 10% down, $100,000 house. I don't know where in Denver you could find $100,000 house, but
Not anymore.
for argument's sake, and I can do math in my head easily that way, let's say that $10,000 that you used to buy that $100,000 worth of property, your equity and the value is actually you're actually growing the $100,000 worth of value. So I hope I'm explaining this correctly, and tell me if I'm not. All right. So you spent $10,000 to buy $100,000 worth of value, right? Only $10,000 to get $100,000 worth of value, which is continuing to grow. When you invest $10,000 in the stock market, on the other hand, you are only investing 10,000, and the value that is growing is you're just growing the value on the $10,000, not on the $100,000 of the house, right? And so that's why, there's something about real estate investing that is very intriguing, but the barrier to entry or the amount of money that you need to start can be daunting when you can invest for $5, right? You can start investing for $5. So that was something that Aman brought up that was an aha moment. We all know that. We all know that the value of your house grows on the entire amount, not just your down payment.
I mean, sometimes you just need to hear that
You
from
need to hear
somebody
it.
else to say, okay, that really, really makes sense, even though you know it.
Right.
But still, sometimes you have to hear from somebody else.
Right. Which brings us to the next thing that we would do, which we got from Christine and Aman. We would take a little portion of that money and get some financial literacy education.
Yes, because you need it. Everybody doesn't know everything, and nothing is new under the sun. But there's things that they didn't teach us in school. There's things that you need to reach out and find other means and methods of being creative financially.
Yep.
So there's a lot of means to have being creative financially, but sometimes we just don't have the thought process or the thoughts in our mind of how to do that. So you need to get some literacy, financial literacy,
Yeah.
education.
Yeah. And that's why most lotto winners end up broke
Because they don't know.
because they don't know,
They
right?
just
That's
have
why it's important to have a plan.
right, and they've never really had anything like that, and to them, it's winning it. I can get anything I want, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. They want all They want all the toys and the different things that they can have, and
Right.
they're not thinking about further down the line. What if my money goes away? What if I'm broke? They're not thinking about that at that time, and you
Because
have to think ahead.
there's so much money, it doesn't seem like it's ever gonna go away,
Right,
right?
right.
And so they end up broke because they don't, have the financial literacy. Even worse, we wanna make sure that we're teaching our kids as well. So as we are learning, we're having those conversations with our kids, our grandkids, our nieces, our nephews, whoever it is that we are creating this generational wealth
Mhm.
for, right? So the fourth thing is to invest in financial literacy education. What is the next thing that we would spend our money on?
Maxing out all well, no, I take that back. Let's go back. I'd spend to hire someone to make sure your parents are prepared for their future.
Right. So this is something when we're talking about um, when we're talking about financial independence, retiring early. I don't hear a lot of conversations from sandwich generations, which we are, where we're helping out our parents and helping out our younger adult kids, um, and trying to prepare for our own retirement. How does that work? Right?
Right.
And so one of the things that I would make sure is that because my parents were not prepared, and if you are the typical black family,
You're not prepared.
probably not prepared. Probably not prepared. So
Mm.
we would spend the money to have someone go over things with our parents to make sure that they had long-term care, long-term health care, that all of their situation, estate, exactly, et cetera, was tied up and ready to go. All the insurance paid up on auto pay and all of that stuff. Because I'm telling you, like my dad had an insurance policy, and when he started getting dementia, he didn't pay it, it lapsed, it's gone, and now all of that money is gone, and
Yeah,
this is what happens.
yeah. There's a lot of things that can go wrong and will go wrong. A lot of people think that, well, I'll get Social Security. Social Security is not going to cut it for you. It's just not. You have to have other plans and other means of having more money.
So, the average American gets $1,500 a month Social Security.
Mhm.
If I think the maximum amount you can get if you choose to get it at about 67 is at this point today, as we're recording this, is about $2,700 a month
Mhm.
ish. And
Before
then
taxes.
before taxes and your Medicare and all of that, of course.
Yeah,
And then if you wait till 70, it's 3,000 ish, a little bit more.
yeah. If you wait till 70.
So that's $36,000 a year if you wait until you're 70 years old. And I'm not going to say you're all broken down, because I'm not going to be broken down at 70. But depending upon what kind of job you have,
Job you have and how you take care of yourself.
how you take care of yourself. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to wait to have fun. I don't want to wait to start living my life,
Right.
right? And asking, I think the thing for me was when I had to ask for permission to take care of my dad,
Yeah.
to be at the hospital with my dad. And I was like, I'm 57 years old. Why? This just doesn't make sense.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
And you
So
have the Family Leave Act, but what is it? 12 weeks that you have. It's like what
try to get those
in
benefits.
12 weeks is everything supposed to just go away and everything is all right again? Which I understand. It's I don't even want to get into the politics of anything,
Right.
but
But try to get right. Try to get all of that, right? Try to get all of that time um tagged together at one time. Like, right. If you've got 2 weeks worth of vacation plus some family leave time and this and that, and you actually ask to take a 3 or 4 week vacation,
yeah,
how has that worked out for you? Right?
yeah.
We're not about that. We're not about that life on this channel. So, all right. We're about creating wealth, financial independence. And
Take
so,
and taking care of helping family, helping them, making sure that they're okay too. You can't live your lives for them, but you can pass on knowledge. You can point them in the right directions, and if you can financially, it's always a good thing to do.
So the family starts calling because you've won the $1 million. Do
Oh,
not
yeah.
give out one dime if you don't have a plan.
Learn how to say no.
If you've got your plan already, if you've got your plan, then you already know what percentage of that $1 million you have decided you're going to help out family members with, right? And so,
See, our policy, we have a policy between us. So, and that is if family or friends or whomever came to us and said, "Hey, could you loan me X amount of dollars or something like that?" And we can make a loan to somebody. But our thing is, if we have to worry about getting that money back for our survival, we can't do it. So we're not going to do anything that we is going to put us in a position where it's going to hurt and we're going to suffer for it. Because one of the big things, and some of the other people we talk to in the different groups will explain too, it's like one of the main things you want to do is be able to pay back a family member if you borrowed something from them or whatever, because you don't want it to destroy your relationship. So you want to keep your relationship. So,
that's why I don't loan money.
and I will, but
I
I'm not going to freak out if,
I give money.
my mortgage will get paid.
Yeah, I give money. If I get paid back, then it was a loan.
Yeah, I'm
If
not
I
freaked
didn't,
out.
then I don't freak out because I gave it to you. I don't loan money because if I loan it to you and you don't pay me back, I'm gonna be pissed off. So I just don't loan it. I just give it. And yeah,
I still own
he loans it and he expects it back from his kids. And if they call to ask for, if y'all listening, are you listening? I see some folks listening, but I don't see the chatter. Adult kids, if you're listening, y'all know if you borrow money from dad and you don't pay it off, and then and then you call to ask for more, what
It's going to be
happens?
more difficult to get anything. It will be more difficult.
It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right. So let's get back to the subject. 1 million lotto after taxes. We would pay off high interest consumer debt. We would
Shore up emergency funds.
downsize our housing and do a little bit of real estate investing or house hacking. We would
Invest in financial literacy education. I got to learn how to say that word. Literacy.
Yes.
Education. Educate yourself.
Right? We would spend money to make sure that our parents' estate and affairs are all situated and prepared for, because history tells us that's usually not happening. And then the next thing we would do,
Ding, 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 ding. Max out your pre-tax accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs. If you haven't started them, start one. If you're with with the last employer I was with, I was like, I don't need the 401k thing. I'm not going to do that.
No. Wait, tell the story. Because see, if y'all were here last week, you guys know the story that we went to a financial advisor who was really just an insurance salesman, and Rick left depressed.
Yeah, I was depressed.
He was depressed. Hey, Tanya! Yay! Okay, I got to take a break right here. This is my baby's godmother, and she has finally joined. Hi, Tanya. We love you. All right. So, we love you.
So anyway, I got depressed after I sat down with a financial advisor because he was telling me all the things that I did not want to hear. And I said, you know what? She more or less pushed me in the direction, said, go on and sign up for your 401k. And
this was what year?
I don't.
It was somewhere around 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, right? And what did you say? You said it was too late.
Yeah, I thought it was too late. It's not too late. It really isn't too late.
He said it was too late. So that was like late 2017, 2018, something like that. Today, that account, and remember, guys, he was furloughed for the whole COVID time. He was furloughed.
Yes.
So that means nothing was going into this 401k.
No.
And so starting it in 2018, not putting anything in 2020, and barely any in 2021 until we started maxing out again because we couldn't. It's at like $38,000. Yeah. $38,000, and we barely put any money in. That's what compounding interest and investing in the stock market does.
Yeah, it's not too late.
It is not too late, no matter how old you are, because it's more money than you would have had.
Yeah.
Had you not done it.
And you got somebody adding money to your money.
Yes.
So it's free money. They add free money to it.
Yep.
So, and you have a right to it. get what you can get, and when you're ready to get out, get out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if your employer, thank you, thank you, thank you. If your employer matches 3%, usually it's 6%, depending upon how big the employer is, you're going to take out that whole, you're going to go ahead and take that whole 6% out of your check. All right. Then you're going to go over, we talked about this last week. Then you're going to go over to your Roth IRA and you're going to put in your whole $6,000. If you're under 50, your $7,000 if you're over 50. All right. Then you're going to come back to your 401k and you're going to max out up to the $22,000.
Yes.
All right. And the reason that you're going to do that is because any any money, and when I say come back to, I mean come back and take that out of your check if you can. Any money that you can take out pre-tax is money that you don't have to pay Uncle Sam. And I said this last week, you guys. On our YouTube channel, there we put the channels that have changed our lives. One channel that changed our lives is Choose FI. There are two white guys, and one is financially independent, one is Coast FI, and they give lots of great information on their channel.
Yes.
But one of them was a tax accountant. And so one of the things that he brought to my attention is when the last administration changed the tax laws and simplified it with that some people are paying more taxes, but there's a way not to. Simplified it that each individual gets a $12,000 write-off, period, right off the bat. You get $12,000 write-off each couple, $24,000. That means you can control your taxes. If you know you don't have $24,000 worth of write-offs, then you know you can make $24,000. You know you can make $24,000 without paying any income tax. Don't mix up the Medicare and Social Security with income tax, okay? You don't have to pay any income tax on the $24,000. Any money after that you can control. If that money is going into your 401k because you don't need to spend it because you have taken down your expenses so low when you're house hacking and everything else, that's less money for Uncle Sam. That's less money you have to pay for taxes, and that's more money that you will have on the other end. I don't believe in paying any more taxes than we are required to pay.
Right.
You are not required to pay any more taxes than you are required to pay.
Required to pay. Yes.
So
you have to pay attention to it. Very close attention to it. All right. Well, the next thing would be to what?
So we maxed out our pre-tax accounts and why we would do that and why and the order. We can do a whole video on that as well. The next thing that we would do is
invest in the stock market.
Why?
Well, don't get us wrong. It's not a short-term investment when you invest in the stock market. You're not going
We're talking about the lotto.
Right.
Gambling.
But the stock market is not a place to play with your money. There are day traders, and if you're into that type of thing or you think you can understand it, you can play all kind of games with the stock market. But index funds, ETFs, go with things that are more comfortable. Invest in a total stock market. Don't go to individual stocks until you understand or learn more about it. There's a lot more investigation and research that you have to look into for stocks. Right. For separate stocks, for companies, even a company like Apple, you want to know financials, you want to know a whole lot of things. Right. Apple's not going anywhere. But still, when you invested it, you got to know all the way down to the CEO of the company. How is he vested in the company? How can he do different things? What is his interest? Where is he taking that company? How much debt does that company have? Things you got to know. Just like a bank, when you go to a bank to get a loan, they're looking at everything about you.
That's right. Same thing that you.
So you have to do the same thing with the company you want to invest in. But if you're dealing with the index funds or the overall stock market, the S&P 500, I mean, I can sit here and name all kinds of stuff, but that's another hour. So you invest in the total stock market. So if the total stock market goes down,
well, the stock market is going down now. Right?
It's going down, but it's always returned. It always returns.
So what the difference between what we're like day trading, we don't know anything about
That's
day trading. We're not talking about that.
that can be kind of
I
gambling.
don't know what that is.
Be careful of that.
Some people gamble, some people know what they're doing and it's not gambling because they know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't understand
Yeah,
it.
because you're trying to get the stocks
Right.
at their highest point.
I'm still trying to figure out Trading Places, folks. Okay, we rewatched Trading Places over Christmas because it's a Christmas movie. And I'm still trying to figure out what the heck they did. Okay, so did they pre-buy? How did they? Because I don't know. I don't understand it. But what I do know is I understand how my 401k works, right? I understand that every week I put in this amount of money from my paycheck into a mutual fund, which is basically a product that has little pieces of a lot of companies.
Mhm.
So it's already diversified. That I understand. And I understand what diversification means, that I want to spread the risk out, right? From, so that we don't have all of our eggs in one basket.
Right.
I understand that. So, what we would do with the money is we would open up an account at Fidelity or Schwab.
Schwab or Fidelity.
Why not Vanguard? We like Vanguard. We do have Vanguard funds, but Vanguard does not do international banking the way Schwab and Fidelity do. And since we are going to be retiring abroad, we want to put our money in a place where they're not going to charge us a bunch of fees because, this is our hard earned money or our hard earned lotto money. We're going to be sucking up our money with fees and ATM charges and everything like that.
Yeah.
So we would open up an account at Schwab, and they're not paying us for this, at Schwab or Fidelity. And you only need $5, folks. $5. You can buy fractional shares.
Start you.
And we would invest the money in some total market index funds. We would maybe look at some ETFs, some electronically traded funds,
Yes.
which are also like a mutual fund. In that, I think I'll put the investing FAQs up. In that they have a bunch of stuff in it. It's a product with a bunch of different companies in it, right? But it's traded more like stocks. So those are ETFs, and there's sector ETFs.
There's a whole
different
gamut
industries
of things. And
and
mutual
stuff like
funds
that.
are pretty much managed funds.
Yeah.
You don't really get to. I have to make sure. I know they're managed funds, so there is a fee, and you can pick out mutual funds from different companies like Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard or something like that, and just find the ones with the lower fees attached to them.
Look at those fees, guys.
Fees are very
Look at those
important.
fees. So what we would do is we would pick, if we went to Schwab, we would buy Schwab branded index funds, Schwab branded ETFs, because those are going to be the ones that are the cheapest or least expensive or free. And Fidelity has one that's zero. It's zero fees, right? And so that's what we would do.
Yeah, and it depends on the sectors and stuff that they're involved in too, because some of them will have higher fees or that you would have to pay because of what's in them, what's specialized in them. But that's something, you want to invest in the whole stock market. Don't worry about single stocks right now, if anything. But I'm not giving you advice. I'm just saying what we would. That's what we did.
So because we want to retire, we want to create more ease. We're not trying to create another job. We don't want stock investing to be a job. We do a set it and forget it, and we have a plan, and we have the ones that we invest in, and every month or whatever, the money goes in, and it's invested in these index funds, and that's it. And we set it and we forget it. And we plan to leave it in perpetuity. So this is not something we are building generational wealth. And so one of the things that we wanted to say, like, if you need money in the next 2 to 3 years, do not invest it in the stock market. If you're looking for 10 years from now to start, that's fine. 10 years, you want to invest in a company. That means you believe in it. You want to give money so that they can grow their company, and in return give you money for investing in them, right? That's what you want to do. So all of the money that we have invested is their long-term investings, and we have no money invested in bonds. We have no money invested in bonds because we are trying to grow wealth for generations. We're not just trying to preserve money for ourselves so that we have enough to live on. We want to make sure that our kids, our grandkids, and great grandkids will have enough money to live on, and that this they can grow upon what we have
They can continue it.
started to create. And so we just put in the chat an investing FAQ. It's really basic with some basic information on what's the difference between shares and stocks and bonds and ETFs and index funds, and what the heck are you guys talking about? If you if you want to know what we're talking about, I did put that investing FAQ into the chat, and feel free to download that. So our daughter's on.
Hey, baby.
Hey, Shannon, how are you doing? Jimmy with the IE. Jimmy, I want to know why you've got the IE. There has to be a story behind it. So if you want to put it in the chat, I mean, don't feel like you have to. But if you want to put it in the chat, definitely do.
So many people, yeah, they do. A lot of people suffer.
We all want, especially we Black folks. I know all folks want to help their family. I know that. And I also know that it is ingrained in us that that collectively we have to help each other, right? And even put up with abuse and still help, right? But I'm going to give you the same adage that they give you on an airline. You cannot help anyone. Like, put your mask on first
before you put somebody else's on.
Put your own mask on first. Make sure that your future and your life is situated, and then you can help other folks. Like, we didn't start a YouTube channel when we were in debt, talking about, well, maybe the YouTube channel can get us out of debt or some such nonsense. We don't have anything to talk about. So, and it wasn't even our idea, but once it clicked and people started asking questions, it's like, okay, so we've done this, and now we want to share with you what we've done, because there is a better way, and we want to make sure that our tribe is not retiring, broken down, and dying early, and all these other isms that America has given to us. And I just rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I rebuke it. So, so many people do suffer trying to help family. And thank you, Jenny, with the IE. It's true. And that's why we did put in there, invest in making sure that your parents are shored up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, make sure your parents are shored up, so that you're not like, you're not in France trying to worry about what's what.
You know what came to mind?
What?
Can you understand the words coming out my mouth?
Okay, I'm gonna get some water.
I had to. I'm sorry. I had to.
It's all right. It's all good.
Looking like Chris Tucker.
So, can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? So he's laughing now, but he's laughing now. I've been studying Spanish for the past 2 years.
Oh, you gotta go there.
I'm going there. I've been studying Spanish for the past 2 years, and Mexico, as y'all know, is on our list. And so we'll see who's going to be talking about, can you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
And it was out of love. I said that out of love, because when we went to Europe, and we spent time in Italy, and it was driving me crazy because I just wanted a regular cup of coffee, just regular. But of course, trying to explain, and all they do is espresso, and what's the machine?
That big espresso machine.
Even in
McDonald's,
they just do fufu coffee.
In Italy, they had big barista machines, big espresso barista machines. He's like, oh, McDonald's, I'm going to be able to get them a coffee.
But she could communicate a lot better than me. So I was like, okay, whatever. I told her I did. If you weren't here, I'd probably started that. Because it was like,
or eat Doritos. They did have Doritos.
Yeah. Give me some spaghetti or something, Chef Boyardee stuff. I'd have missed out on everything. So
yeah. So we'll see who's talking stuff. Right?
I'm already crying inside. I'm crying inside right now. I apologize.
Lo siento. Lo siento. Okay, I think we've done it, folks. I think we've done it. Okay, so let's just go over what we talked about. How would you spend the money? The most important thing is that have a plan.
Have a plan.
Have a plan. If you have any questions, oh wait, Tanya has a question. I'm gonna put that up. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, the money will slip through your fingers, folks. It will slip through your
Mhm.
fingers. All right. So we gave you our assumptions of our 40-year-old couple who has a 401k, owns a home with a big mortgage on it, student loans, little bitty savings, some car loans, etc. Right? We gave you the assumptions. Rewind it if you're coming in late. So we pay off our high interest loan debt,
Yep.
right? Um, $135,000 worth of Gen Xer debt is out there, the average person. So that's crazy.
Yes.
We downsize our car, right? What else would we do? Oh, there's our son. Hey, Jabari, we're live, and he's growling live. The other thing that we do
I don't know. He just threw me.
he threw off. We'd shore up our emergency
Shore up your
fund.
emergency funds. Make sure you put some money. Pay yourself.
Right.
Pay yourself. Make sure you
first.
pay yourself. And the one thing we didn't say with the accident thing is we borrowed the money for the down payment on the car,
From
and when
our
we
savings
from
account.
our savings, and we gave it back. We paid it back when we got our settlement from you. So we paid ourselves back, and you should put yourself almost in that third person thing on different things that you do, and if you have to do that to make sure that you are replacing funds that you've taken away from. Just pay yourself back and pay yourself.
Yes.
Two important things.
Yes. 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 And then the other thing that we didn't mention about that. So we got $25,000. We paid ourselves back. So the 3 or 4 thousand, I can't remember, that we spent on a down payment, we put it back in our savings account. That other money went into our investment account.
Yes.
100% went into our investment account. It didn't get spent on bright, shiny things.
We didn't let the lotto effect take us.
We did not let the lotto effect take us.
We can buy, because I mean, there's certain things you could buy with that kind of money, but it wasn't about doing that. It was about, okay, let's invest this. Let's do something positive. Let's
Right.
get what we need to have instead of stuff. We got enough stuff.
We have enough stuff. So that was your godson walking in the background, Tanya. That was your godson. You need to call him and tell him what's what. Okay, so the rule of 72, cut out the middleman. That is the banks. Our money doesn't just sit in the banks. The banks
They
invest our
use it.
money. Yep, they use it.
They constantly, and then they give you 1% or 1% over 1 for something stupid,
No.
0.1.
So we have our savings in Ally Bank. Again, we're not getting paid. We like Ally because you can split our savings account has different
put
buckets.
it in buckets.
And we have our hell nah bucket. Thank you, Adelia Abarshade from Piggy Roll Travels. We have our hell nah bucket, our hell yeah bucket, right? We have our
FU bucket.
Our FU money. We have our FU money, and then we have a bucket for our investment properties. So that's why we like Ally Bank. But yeah, they are still only paying 0.5%, and that was the best we could find out there. So now that the Fed has increased the rates, we'll see if the savings rate goes up. But we do have a lot of money in savings, folks. If you have a lot of money in savings and you do not need it in the next couple of years, invest it because you're losing money right now. What's the inflation rate? 5 to 7%.
5 to 7%.
Meanwhile, your money's getting nothing. So you're losing 5 to 7% worth of buying power every month, every year that your money stays in a savings account.
And there are accounts that you can get that give a higher interest rate, like in a savings account or something like that. But
where?
I've read about it. I will look and see if I can find that, and we will put it.
I have not found it.
We will do on Lotto part 2. We'll add it in there.
I have not found it. Jimmy's a female. Hi, Jimmy. I get it because my cousin Jimmy, he's a male. He spells it with an IE. Yeah, I'm sorry. He doesn't know. He don't know. He doesn't know he's supposed to use a Y. But anyway, yeah, I want to I want to see the savings account.
I'll look at it. I have to bring it up again, but I did look at it. It wasn't a whole lot more, and it was you had to in order to open it, you had to have a high dollar amount to start
What's high dollar amount?
it. I'm probably looking $5,000.
Oh, okay. I haven't found anything over 0.5% interest. If you guys know of a savings account out
Yeah,
there, a bank that's
share
paying
your
more,
information with us.
right? Drop it in the chat. More than 0.5%, because that's the most that I have ever found is 0.5%. So, if y'all don't have any more questions, we're going to start wrapping this up. But one of the things that I did want to say is we are starting, we are taking our registration right now for Beyond the Bling. Beyond the Bling is for Black couples, or you don't have to be married. If you are not married and not in a relationship, and you have an accountability partner that you are working with, you can register with your accountability partner and work as a team that way. But it is for couples because we do things together, right? It's a 6-week program to jumpstart your retirement program, and it's starting May 15th. And we are only taking a certain amount of couples. It will include every week group coaching with the two of us. We will look at your plan and give you feedback on your retirement plan. And we will have daily check ins, the whole 9 yards. And so that is called Beyond the Bling. I'm going to put that up there. Let's see. Do I have that up there? Or do I not? Here, I'll just I'll type it in the chat. So if you want to go to our website, ourblackutopia.com, and then go to Beyond the Bling. I should have had that. Let me see if I can grab it while we're finishing up here. Please like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. We are here every Sunday at 1:30. Every Sunday at 1:30. And next week, we're going to be talking about, as you guys know, we did tell you guys last week, we will be interviewing Adelia Aborshade of Picky Girl Travels the World. This woman changed my life. If you are thinking about moving abroad, she has a checklist on her website that was like, I had to go give her some money just for that checklist alone. It's like, girl, for the checklist alone, because it was on another level, things that I had never even thought of. And so, yeah, we are going to be interviewing her, I think, in 2 weeks. But next week, we have something that's pretty controversial. We have not given up on the American dream, and we don't think you should either.
No.
We have not given up on the American dream, and we don't think that you should either. And so that is what we are going to be talking about. A lot of folks think that the American dream is just about what, 3 point something.
Well, now it's 3.5. It used to be 2.5, a dog, a picket fence, and a house.
Okay.
But, I guess population portion of it, the kids portion of it went up. But that's not just the American dream. That's somebody's idea of the American dream. What is the American dream mean to you?
Yeah. What does the American dream mean to you?
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about next week, building generational wealth, because that's really what it's about, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And definitely, I think the thing about this is, and what the revelation that we've had over the past 3 or 4 years is that, and we'll get into this in the Lotto effect part 2, is that a lot of us have been waiting for that big break.
Yes. Yeah.
We've been waiting for that big break that will provide us with that American dream, when really it has been our outlook on what is important in life and what we need to feel successful that has been the biggest prohibition to us achieving financial independence.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that.
Well said.
We're going to talk about that. So I'm going to put this in the chat right quick. Let me see if I can get back to the comments here. And so what I just put in the chat is where you can register for Beyond the Bling, which is starting May 15th. We will meet weekly. We will have group coaching,
Mhm.
etc. Please like, subscribe. If there are no more questions, Tanya, you okay?
See, now you got to create one for. There you go.
I was thinking about this. I really was. I was thinking about this. Um, so we started in November, October, November. We started doing family finance calls once a month. And so today, in about an hour, we're going to get off and then we're going to jump in with our family and talk more about finance. So today is our finance call. And we started doing that when we decided that we were going to pass down our wealth to our family. We're like, we ain't passing down our wealth to some uneducated folks up around here
Yeah, they got to know. They got to know what they're getting and how to keep it going.
and how to keep it going,
Yeah,
right?
you just
Um,
can't give people any. You can't give people anything without trying to without teaching them uh, how to keep it going because it's a moot point.
it's a moot point, and they'll squander it, and they'll end up like the lotto winners, right?
Yeah.
So we started the family calls in October. Tanya's family. Tanya, I haven't seen you on the family calls. Will I see you on the family call today, Tanya? I'm calling you out, girl.
Oh
I'm
Lord.
calling you out. I'm calling you out. And I'm also going to say because we don't believe in competition. Our Black utopia, what we are trying to create here is a tribe of folks who are financially independent. And we believe here that there is enough to go around.
Yeah.
So, the reason why we're not starting one for single women on the rise is because there are women out there doing that. So, Sheeta's on the Loose deals with single women who want to take a sabbatical or retire abroad to get their money straight. Adelia Aborshade also deals with women who want to get their money straight and actually started a class a couple of weeks ago. And I think we'll be doing another one in the fall or summer or fall. And she does it for women only. And so Adelia Borshade, Picky Girl Travels the World is her channel. I know some of you may have found us through Picky Girl Travels, but if not, yeah, we believe that there is enough to go around and we love collaboration. And so if you want one-on-one help, we can do that. If you want group coaching, find a community. Find a community on Facebook. Um,
Yes,
Picky
definitely.
Girl has solo travelers if you're into travel, and they also talk about money in there. But yeah, find a community to support you. Our Black Utopia, we will be starting a Facebook group, but we're waiting until we grow a little bit, so we're not just in there talking to ourselves.
And what about Stephanie?
Stephanie Perry, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah. So yesterday, Stephanie Perry, I guess, had her 100,000 subscriber celebration,
Celebration.
and I learned a lot from her. She changed our lives as well. And so she mentioned us a few times. I know some of you found us through Stephanie Perry, and you know, if you don't know who she is, you need to subscribe. You need to subscribe. She is about making sure that Black women are living a life of ease
Yes.
and that we are treating ourselves with love and kindness. So, if that sounds good to you, Stephanie Perry, you need to go ahead and subscribe to her as well. So, Tanya says she's waiting on that break and breaking down. We have to make our own breaks sometimes. We have to make our own breaks sometimes. And we talked about manifesting. Oh, okay. Before we go, I've got to tell this story. I got to tell this story. So, if I don't think some of you are getting our Ready to Retire toolkit, I will put that in the description and put it up again as well. But in any event, so I'm going to give somebody else some props. Brown and Bindi. She does videos on manifestation as well as yoga. She believes in a flexible mind, flexible spirit, etc. And so we've been listening to her because they're very uplifting. And I like
Yes.
when you're in a mood and you really need to lift yourself up. I like to listen to music, but I also find certain, YouTubers and other podcasters and stuff that I like to listen to. Brown and Bendy is one of them. So Rick goes to check the mail yesterday.
Oh, Lord.
So Rick goes to go check the mail yesterday, and I'm like, okay, give me my checks. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, look, I believe that I'm going to be receiving checks in the mail every day. And so give me my check. I know there's a check in the mail.
Of course, I had to like look at her like she was insane as I was looking at a check, an envelope with a check on it. But I didn't tell her that envelope was there because it was like I had to save that for last. So I read off all the different pieces of mail and then I just tossed the check down on it. It's like, okay.
And it was $500, baby. It wasn't like a $2 rebate check. $500 that I was not, well, I was expecting, but wasn't expecting. Was not expecting on that day. So I believe like the words are powerful. The vibrations, the aura, the whatever you want to call it, karma, God, Holy Spirit. I believe, okay? I believe and I try to stay positive, right? I try to stay positive. I have my affirmations all around our mirror. I am certain that this exists. I am certain, I am certain, I am certain. And so if that's not something that you're doing, we encourage you to look at the Brown and Bendy videos and start incorporating that in your life because we do not want you breaking down, waiting for the break. All right. We definitely don't. So
like
with
us,
that, subscribe, turn
push
on
the
those
bell,
notifications,
and join us on our journey.
yes,
please.
Yes, and we don't want waiting to cause you a breakdown either. All right. So we love you guys, and we'll see you next week. 1:30.
1:30.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's see. What do we want to do? Let's put this up.